Welcome back. Stop Xenophobia Campaign participants say they're shocked at the increase of anti-foreigner rhetoric. It comes as Operation Dudula continues its campaign targeting undocumented traders. One Voice for All hawkers says practical solutions can be found. It also condemned the violence meted out by members of Operation Dudula. So let's discuss this with organizations. Julekha Latib. Julekha, thank you so much for your time this morning. I mean, we cannot, divorce the fact that a lot of South Africans feel somehow marginalized by perhaps government's continuous ignorance or even choosing to ignore just how much undocumented illegal foreign nationals are working in South Africa. But in that, obviously, there's a balancing act between acknowledging that devastation versus acknowledging the fact that xenophobia is something we cannot contend with in 2022. How then do we start navigating a very tricky and very precarious disposition?
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. I hear what you're exactly saying, that why and how and what. This falls under government. If the informal traders were properly regulated in meaning that we were given, prior notice. I mean, talking about organizations, because we do represent the traders. So why have we not been told about this? This is very, very disturbing, because if you go to anybody and just, it's like the don't pass system. It's like coming back again. Meaning that you can take a trader that is sitting on the street and harass that trader. Not only harass the trader, burn their goods, and hurt women and children. And this is for us very, very disturbing. We had a very disturbing case in Beira, where I don't even want to call who is South African and who is a migrant. It's so unfortunate. After the incident happened, there was a woman, a migrant woman, that was practically, the cigarette was pushed into her neck area. She was screaming with pain because blood was oozing out of her. And, nobody cared at that moment until one of the migrants got up and said, you know what? You have to stop. You can't do this to anyone. And the woman was so scared at that moment that she ran away because she didn't know what to do, because she was helpless and also she was very scared. Now, if this is the incident that's happening in an area where people are sitting together, and it's shocking because it's unfair. You cannot do that to a woman. I mean, you know what? We talk about GBV. That is gender-based violence. And you cannot turn it around and say it isn't. We tried to take the woman to the police station, but she was too scared to do that because she's scared of being intimidated or harassed. Because when she comes back to her place to sell, she's going to be harassed again. And the names that they are calling these people, they say these people must go back where they come from. I mean, this is disturbing. If we are South Africans, we need to also look after everybody. I mean, it's not only that. I know we understand that it's a wrong way of doing things. Yes, undocumented is totally not right. But how does the government do their job? Because if a person goes to the Home Affairs, you are told that you must come after every 6 months. Now, how can you work the system like that? Come back in 6 months. We'll look again on it. Come back after 6 months. It's the same thing as informal traders. Come back after 6 months. So when you call a person to come every 6 months, when are you going to get it documented? So meaning there needs to be a system change and something needs to be done. But you can't face and say people are bad, and people are trying to put food on the table. And when we talk about the pandemic, people have lost their jobs. And even South Africans, we all are in that situation. But how do we change? We need to start talking instead of hurting each other. It's totally inhumane.
I mean, you're saying that we need to start talking instead of hurting each other. We've got a disenfranchised, marginalized South African majority whose realities have been very further exacerbated by COVID-19 pandemic. 76% or so, 46% of this country don't have jobs. 76% or so of these are young people who do not have jobs in South Africa. Marry that against, obviously, the fact that we are South Africa within the context of an African continent, which means that we will have immigration from time to time. But that means that there needs to be adequate management of borders around who's legal, who's illegal, and what documentation follows suit. Then how then do we start having these conversations where South Africans don't feel marginalized by the government that was supposed to protect their interests, as well as foreign nationals who don't feel marginalized by South African, a group who feel as though nobody's hearing them out, so let's project. Or are we sitting at a ticking time bomb here?
You know, it is definitely a crisis. We are in a crisis at the moment. The joblessness has actually shown us that from the time COVID started, people started losing their jobs. They could not even go back to work because of the pandemic. So that shows that people have lost jobs in a tremendous way. And it's not only because you are a migrant, it's South Africans as well. Everybody has been jobless. They're sitting at home without anything. And we need to start talking, how are we going to be able to sort this problem out? The problem cannot just go away. It needs to be systematically challenged, meaning that the informal sector is now on a very, very, very bad space because everybody wants to go into the informal sector. And meaning that who do you take in and who do you take out? We are sitting, like you say, on a ticking time bomb. So how do we go together and how do we go forward?
And the question then is how, then, Julekha?
Well.
Yeah, how do we start these conversations? How do we move this conversation around a progressive way forward where we do not find that violence then gets imposed on the most vulnerable, women, children, whether they're South Africans or they're foreign nationals? Violence is violence. It should never be tolerated at any point. But then how do we have those active conversations? Or are we looking at the wrong place? Are we targeting each other as citizens where really the target as well as the focus should be centered on government, around government responding to a situation which was allowed to be created for decades?
Absolutely. It has been happening all the time. The past 27 years or longer, it's been going on like that. Nothing has changed. The system is mismanaged. It's poor management. If you look at the way the city is at the moment, the city is mismanaged. And who do you call accountable for that? Do you call that accountable for the traders? Are they the result of that? Or is it poor management? There needs to be an interaction and a link of working together with informal traders, because we are all there. And most of the people that are sitting on the street are poor. And most of them are their mothers. It's older people that are suffering the brunt. The older people are sitting on the streets. If you look on the streets, it's older people. And this tells you something, that something is going very wrong in our country. And the youth are sitting without jobs as well. So if a mother that is going to be chased off from the street, how does she provide for young children? I mean, these are the things that we need to be very, very concerned about.
Yeah, we have to leave it there. Human rights activist Julekha Latib there from the One Voice of All Hawkers Association, just giving us the realities that exist within the discrepancies of illegal foreign nationals that are in the country versus what would say a marginalized majority of South Africans. Well, to this